Hello, everybody. My name is Mercedes Barragan. I'm so happy to be amongst these amazing Latina women. Oh, we're good? All right. I'm so excited to be here among these amazing Latina women. And I just want to say, when we were approached to have a conversation about Latina women in Grand Rapids, the challenges, the opportunities, the successes, I really felt like those conversations have already been had. And we're kind of tired having them. We've shared our challenges, we've shared our opportunities. We just need people to take action. We need Black women, we need Latina women in power, in powers of position, making law, making policy, and we have it now, but we need more. So today's conversation, we're not gonna sit here and talk about all the challenges we have, but we want everyone to know that the Latina community is not a monolith, and that we all have journeys, we all have our own thoughts and our own feelings, and we all are just here trying to create a more equitable community and a more equitable Grand Rapids. So this is really just a conversation. I'm not gonna be asking a whole lot of questions because all of these amazing women have beautiful stories. So I'm just gonna go around. Maybe I'll just start with Celeste. Introduce yourself. And I do have one question, let me take it back. I do have one question for all of them that they have prepared an answer to. So, but for right now, let's go around and introduce ourselves.
So hi everyone, I'm Celeste Sanchez Lloyd or Celeste Sanchez Lloyd, and I'm excited about being here. My area that you heard earlier is around health equity and as it relates to the community in Kent County.
Thank you.
I'm Noemi. I am 21. And I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know where life is taking me, but I'm here for the ride.
Hi everyone, thank you. I am excited to be here sharing the stage with all these fabulous Latinas. My name is Lorena Aguayo-Marquez, and I have lived in Grand Rapids for over 20 years. I came here for college, and that was a shock coming to West Michigan. Nice culture from Chicago. Still adjusting to that 20 years later, but I do education, workforce development. I'm community advocate, activist, civic engagement. That's what I do. Making sure that we are being heard, right? The unjust are being heard.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Krystle, and I'm first generation American, Cuban American. I have lived in Grand Rapids for 20 years now after relocating from Florida. I, like Celeste, also share in the health equity space, and I'm really happy to be here sharing my perspective. Shout out to my boss who's here supporting me.
Beautiful. I love it. So, okay, thank you. So the question that all of these amazing ladies had to think about over the last couple days is I asked them, who are your people? And they kind of took that and ran with it. So I want to start off with Celeste. I don't know, I got her when just as she was trying to fix her mask. But Celeste, talk to me. Who are your people?
Yeah, so I identify as Afro-Latina, first generation Dominican American. And it took me a while to get to that place. I will say that my household was a Dominican family. We were a bachata, merengue family. That's what we were doing. We were eating plátanos. And so outside of that, I knew nothing except I was Dominican by culture. It wasn't until I got really older and I recognized who truly my people were. So I had historically lived on this nice, beautiful facade of my people being my great-grandmother, who was 100% Spaniard, my mother being referenced to as India, and I never heard about my other people. And it wasn't until I started to explore truly who I am, I realized that I am my people, and my people are the enslaved Africans, the Taino Indian, and the colonizing Spaniards. Those are my people. And I've always been only given opportunity to give only 30 or 75% of who I am to community, right? And to be able to explain. So now as an adult, I realize that as an Afro-Latina, I can't, and it's not safe for me to stay in spaces where I only talk about my Latina experience. I have shared experience with black women. And for a long time, I didn't get that opportunity to tell people that story. I would have to go under this auspice of that was my Latina experience. And so now also raising 3 bicultural children who are going to have to share their black and Latina story, I have to be able to represent where there are no spaces for us, right? So being able to make space and realize when I sit in a room, I can't check 2 boxes off. I can't be the black woman and I can't be the Latina woman. So my people are making spaces for black women, right? And so being able to say, all right, I'm here for the Latina voice, but where's the individuals who's going to sit here for the black voice, right? And so when I think of like the Breonna Taylors, and I think of, all of these injustices are happening, I have to also think of the immigration situations we have, right? And Lorena will talk more about that. And be able to move fluidly through those conversations and making space and supporting. So that question of who are my people, it's black voices, it's Latina voices, and it's indigenous voices. It's those people that often feel vulnerable and that are disenfranchised and are sitting in communities where we know that the injustices are happening, right? We've been hearing it. I mean, we've seen examples of it. And so being able to represent and being able to identify where my privilege lies and where my privilege doesn't lie. So that's, for me, that's my people.
Thank you, Celeste, so much for sharing. And I promise I want to get into the other stories as well, but I have to pause because, Celeste, I want to ask you a question about the intersectionality of your identity. And so, like, how is it that you come into spaces? Like, how do you help people understand that you are more than a Latina, you are more than what's on the surface, you are more than a black woman and indigenous? Like, how do you bring all of these parts of your identity into spaces to create spaces for other women?
Yeah, I think it's just having intentional conversations, right? Like being able to tell people, if you added me just for the convenience, right? Like intentionality is the big part, right? I'm looking for that. So when I'm asking questions, right, and I'm really kind of just picking at people and saying, the reason I'm here is because of who I am, right? Who my family is. But how do we support other people? So we always talk about allies. We talk about allies. And I keep saying, I don't need allies. I need an accomplice. I need somebody who's going to be in the trenches with me when things are getting hard, when I'm not there, when there's, they're at spaces that I'm not available to. I need them to be an accomplice. And so that's what my role is when I look at spaces where I am the only. How am I making sure that I am somebody else's accomplice? So being very intentional about saying, I can't join this, I can't support this event, or I can't speak at your event, or whatever the case may be, unless there is true representation of the people you're trying to help or assist, right? And so that's kind of my questions geared to them. I hope I answered that right.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's no wrong answer. It's no wrong answer for us. These are our stories and our thoughts, and they asked us to come up here together to talk about how can we make Grand Rapids a more equitable place, a more inclusive space for Latina. And what I love about this group is we're not just asking about the Latina, right? But we're looking at all women of color, women who are LGBT, like everybody, right? We're trying to create spaces for more than just Latina women.
And I think to add to that, we as a Latina community also suffer really bad from colorism, right? And so within our own colorism, we're trying to figure out where to make those spaces. Mm-hmm. And so the call to action really is for those Latinas who tend to benefit from the dominant culture due to their skin tone, how do you make spaces for other individuals that may not be on that same spectrum?
Yeah. Yes. I remember growing up and hearing stories like my tias would say to my sister and I, don't spend too much time in Mija, quítate del sol, te vas a poner negrita. And it was a bad thing. And when I hear stories from some of my other Latina sisters who take a lot of pride in their European background, right, their Spanish background, and don't acknowledge the blackness in them. And so that's something within the Latina community that we still struggle with, right? And so when we talk about how do we create space for other women, there are things in our own community that we're still working through. I'm not even gonna lie, that's really hard to explain to white people sometimes. Like, I'm just gonna keep it real. It's really hard to explain some of those complexities, and not even complexities, right? But intersection of identities, because we are not a monolith. So, thank you, Celeste. You touched on immigration a little bit, and I wanna pose a question to my friend Lorena. She got a shirt on today. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's dope. What does it say, Lorena?
I'm an immigrant.
Awesome.
I'm proud of it.
I love it. So, Lorena, talk to me. Who are your people?
So who are my people? So I was born in Mexico, and when this question came to us, I had to think about it because it's one of the things I've struggled with who I am, right? It wasn't until I realized that, if it wasn't for 1986, that's an important year with amnesty, I would have still be undocumented. My parents brought me here when I was a baby, and all I known had been growing up in Chicago, being raised in Chicago. And I had been using my privilege, right, my citizenship, to give voice to others. So when we're asking who are my people, anyone who has been in a situation they're unjust, right? It just happens that I am, what I advocate is education equity, right? Making sure that Black and brown or disenfranchised students have opportunity to learn, but also in the workforce, right? When we talk about, we posted this in the Latina network, how in California, it just came out a study how Latinas are making less money. And we have known this, right? Here in West Michigan, Latinas make 58 cents. But it's the language they use, right? They use the pay gap, but it's actually exploitation of females. Let's call it what it is, exploitation of females, exploitation of Black and brown people. And that's where one unjust intersects with the other injustice, right? When we're talking Black Lives Matter. We just right here, they're protesting Black Lives Matter, right? And we took a second, but we also need to call an action and making sure that we advocate and change those policies and make sure that people that are dying, either in prisons or in the concentration camps in the border all over the states, we take them out because they've been there unjust. So that's what, those are my people. Also, I purposely brought this is a reminder of my indigenous roots, right? There's a lot of missing indigenous women and girls, but also intersects with a lot of missing Latinas, immigrants that are coming, crossing Latin America to be here in the United States. They are abused, they are raped. And those are my people. Anyone who has been unjust.
Thank you, Lorena.
You're welcome.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I have to go back because I think I shared this with you all on the call that we had a couple nights ago. And I was asked this question. It said, Mercedes, who are your people? And I was ready to talk about how, like, my dad came over from Mexico when he was 16, not knowing any English. I was ready to talk about my grandparents born in Mexico, my mom being raised here in the United States. And I lovingly like to say, like, my dad's side is, like, straight off the boat Mexican, like, no English. And my mom's side is, like, this Spanglish mix of, like, Tex-Mex. And that week that I was asked that question, Breonna Taylor's murderers were not brought to justice. They got off easy. And I remember the weight of that. And then I remember at some point that week as well, a whistleblower, maybe it was even a couple of days before that, came out and talked about the women in concentration camps in Georgia. Doctors there were performing hysterectomies on them without their knowledge. That is genocide. That is genocide. When you take out the reproductive organs of a woman, you completely disable her. Like, she cannot have children. Like, that's genocide. And the weight of all that hit me so hard that when they came back to ask me, Meche, I say Meche, Mercedes, Meche, who are your people? I was like, Breonna Taylor, my people. All those women in that camp are my people. George Floyd are my people. I cannot just say my people are confined to just my blood relatives, because for me, by some luck and the grace of God, I'm not in a cage right now, because my dad came in a time period where, I'm not going to say it wasn't happening, because it probably was happening, but the point is that my dad was able to come here and build a life, and that's all other people are trying to do. So, Lorena, I love your story, and I love how you include everyone as part of your people. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. What else you want to tell us about your people, Lorena?
My people. I don't know if I missed something, but no, we're talking about immigration, right? Right now, my people, I'm here in Michigan. The people in Michigan are my people. I've been working for driver's license for all, right, here in the state of Michigan. And they haven't, they know what we need. We have told them, but they don't really want to acknowledge and give us what we're asking, right? We're asking for dignity and respect. And they're not giving us what we need to do the basic thing, even to drive here, right? To listen to conversations like this. They don't have the freedom to come and do things like that, being able to be out here. And then with COVID hit, even that, the immigrant undocumented community is suffering a lot right now. And they're still not listening to us. Politicians are not listening to us. The lawmakers, they're not listening to us. Here in Grand Rapids, right? Black Lives Matter, Beyond, we want to defund the police, right? They're not listening to the need of the community. The community has come out, but they're not listening. So when it comes to that, my people, I'll be out here protesting, right? But I know that we need to advocate as a one voice. Come out and continue doing the injustice, right? We want equity. Grand Rapids keeps talking about welcoming immigrants, and a couple of weeks ago, they pulled a wall that says, welcome all, block and a half from the immigration office. I don't know about you, but that's not very welcoming to me. So those are things that they don't notice. They might have great intentions, but they don't know the implications they have with that. So they really need to really be thoughtful of the way they do that, right? Not just let's do it to have something, but listen to the people. The people know what they need. Don't tell us what we need or how to do it. We know how to do it. So that's it.
That's it. Put us in power. That's all we need. Just give it to us. Don't ask us about our qualifications and experience. Just do it. Just do it. So I want to turn it over to Noemi. And so I want to share something. So we were all on a call kind of talking about, what are we going to talk about? What are we getting ready to tell people on Saturday? And so we had never met Noemi before. She was real quiet, kind of shy. And we're like, girl, what you got to say? Like, you need to say something. Like, what do you do? Where are you at? Like, what do you want to do? What are your passions? And what I love about her spirit is that she just came into the group. So Krystle, Lorena, myself, and Celeste have all been knowing each other for several years. And we're part of the Latina Network. And I just want to put in a shameless plug. Part of the Latina Network is our ability to bring people in and shine on them and raise them up. It is such a beautiful community. So right away we start firing questions like, what do you want to do? Who do we know in banking? We got to introduce you to this person, and it's such an inclusive, beautiful group. So within 5 minutes, we went from not knowing Noemi to, I feel like a little sister. Like a little sister, that we're bringing her into the group, and now you're part of our group, you're part of our network. Our people are your people. And so, Noemi, I'm just really excited to hear more about your story. And so talk to me, who are your people?
I guess my people are all those kids who were brought here by their parents without any resources. I was brought here when I was 1. And as a DACA recipient, I didn't know what that even meant until I was about 14, where my dream career was to be the president, right? And then you find out that there is no guarantee you can go to college. And even within that area, I went to a predominantly Hispanic middle school, and no one knew how to help me. There were no resources for me. So you have this whole life of just constantly outshining everybody because you have to be the best, but you don't know why. And I did a lot of advocating for the DACA, when it was the Dreamers Act at first. And I had some teachers who didn't even know what it meant and whether or not we deserved their tax dollars. And I just remember printing out a stack of files of everything that it meant and all the actual facts that the DREAM Act meant. And I met with Governor Amash, or whoever he is, senator, and I remember telling him my story and just crying, telling him, like, please, like, if you have any way of giving, a second thought to this. And he was like, I listened to you, but I honestly don't care, is what I got from him. So I did it all. I did community outreach in high school. I did an EMT program because I thought that was going to get me better scholarships, better everything. And it never felt like I was enough. And all my people are those kids who don't have enough resources and they don't have anybody to point them the right way, because there are a lot of us, but not enough. We're too scared to show who we are. And I'm kind of tired of being scared of that. Those are my people.
Y'all, yes, can we clap for Noemi? Like, y'all, not y'all, like you all, right? Like, but like people need to feel the weight of that living in constant fear, inhibiting yourself. Can you imagine what will happen to people when they are unchained, uninhibited, like uninterrupted? The leaders that we're missing out on, the perspective, the change, like just all the power that we miss out on when we keep interrupting people or keep blocking people. Like, Noemi, I just thank you so much for being brave to share your story like out on a stage. That's so brave.
Thank you.
Like, this is do we have like leaders? Like, we need to connect her into community, connect her with people. Like, this is our future leader, y'all. This girl right here. Future leaders. Anything else you want to share, Noemi, about your people? You got a platform. You can say whatever you want. You got the mic.
I do got the mic. I don't know. I'm still trying to find my people. Working yourself to death to have these opportunities makes you isolated. Like, people were too intimidated, and I had to make myself small for a long time to people to make me feel like I was approachable. Like, yes, I'm ambitious, but I'm also human. So it's like I'm still finding my people. Has been lonely at times. And I said I wasn't going to cry, but I'm also an emotional person. So those are my people, too.
That's okay. That's okay.
And yeah, I just want more. I don't know what I want. I just know that there has to be more than just going to a 9-to-5 bank job every single day. And putting up with these people who don't know my story, that they don't know what I've done. I did Art Prize 2 years. We won a prize, but no one, it's like people know, but they're like, oh, that's cool, but they don't know what I had to do, what it meant to me. And I just want people, I want to find my actual people.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like, can we give Noemi a round of applause, please? This girl, I think you're a future senator, president, like governor, like what you want to be, girl. We need to get you connected, because you need to lead people. You're gonna lead people. I'm gonna just put that out in the atmosphere. You're gonna lead people. You're gonna lead people. So, last but certainly not least, my friend Krystle. I enjoyed our conversation the other night in preparing for this, and I just think you're such a beautiful individual. I just love your spirit, and so I'm excited to hear more about who your people are. Talk to us, Krystle.
Yeah, so storytelling is big in our community, so I'm going to practice that because I think that I've shifted my language a little bit to fit into dominant culture. So go along with me into this story. So who are my people? If you haven't met Shannon Cohen, you're missing out. Google it right now. Google her right now. One of the things that she often talks about is superpowers. And in hearing her encourage people and be out in community, I've been thinking about what my superpower is, and I think that cheerleading is one of my superpowers. And so in the spirit of cheerleading, being inclusive, and just being that connector to create a sense of belonging, I would say that my people don't necessarily have a specific physical attribute. My people are what they embody. My people are people who are empathetic, who take action regarding identities to help folks with identities different than their own. My people are those who believe in community. My people are those who feel a sense of responsibility and duty to one another. My people are those who love on each other at all times. My people are those who hold us accountable. My people are those who are resilient, who are brilliant, who have ambition. I hope that you're seeing the common themes of my people and being able to identify them in the ladies that are sitting here in front of you today. My people are revolutionaries. My people are disruptors. My people's contributions outlive them. So in that, I think of those same characteristics and how they're described and shown in my family as well, and in my work and in my community.
I love that. Thank you, Krystle. Can we give a round of applause for Krystle, please? So I was looking at my watch because I want to make sure we good on time. I know we're on a schedule, and I got the thumbs up. Before we wrap up, ladies, I want you all to have the last word. And we have this platform. We're leaders in our community. We are disrupting in our community. What is your call to action today? Or what is just the closing? Maybe let's do like 45 seconds. What do you need people to do? Or what do you need people to know? And whoever ready, go ahead and just say it.
Oh, sure. They're looking at me, so I'll go. So as you know, I'm an activist, community organizer, and one of the things that I have been working on is the driver's license campaign, right? We need everyone to take action. Call your state representatives and demand that the bill comes out of the committee. We need you to do that statewide. But also here locally, we need to make sure that our city listens to the people, what we need, right? I come from the 3rd Ward. We need more economic development there. You walk down there, nothing has happened. We need more economic development there. You know, I remember 20 years, downtown wasn't like this. Why couldn't they not invest this kind of money at the 3rd Ward? So that's another call to action. And also, we need to reduce the funding for the police. There's crime going on all the time, so obviously they're not doing anything about it, right? There's shootings, but yeah, the police do not prevent crime. We need programs that prevent crime. So start investing in the 3rd Ward. Spend the money in the 3rd Ward. So those are my call to action. Driver's license for all, right? Investment in the 3rd Ward. And so that's what I want. That's the call to action.
Is my mic? There we go. Awesome. Can we give a round of applause for Lorena, please? Let me hear it out there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, who's next? I'm looking at Celeste now. I'll make her do it.
So yeah, when I think of what's the call to action, right? So I mentioned earlier that my platform, that my professional setting is around health equity. And when I look at, Mercedes mentioned the sterilization of the women that was happening down south, and that's happening right here in Kent County. When we look at infant mortality rates amongst the Black and Latina women in Kent County, they're some of the highest. Not Detroit, not your Flint, not your Saginaw. It's right here in Kent County. And so when we're talking about making space, it's advocating on behalf of Black and Latina women, Indigenous women, to say this is not okay. The treatment of our healthcare system is not okay. And being able to reflect that in the spaces we're in. And so I call on to you guys, when you witness something, you hear a story, or someone tells you something that doesn't sound right, speak up. Regardless of what race you are, it's speak up. Make space for those voices to be heard. Make those complaints. I'm more than happy to put out my email address that when you hear those complaints, send them through. Because half of the time, the reason why those women don't get recognized is because no one has lifted their voices. And so I really put the group out there to lift voices, make space, don't be an ally, be an accomplice. We have to take the risk, right? Uncomfortable situations lead to progress. And so that's my call to action, is find your uncomfortable space, because more than likely you're going to be successful.
I love it. Thank you, Celeste. Can we give Celeste a round of applause, please? So much wisdom, so much wisdom. All right. Noemi, I see you got the mic up. Talk to us, girl. What we got to do? What we got to do?
I guess we got to create more safe places for the Hispanic kids who, like there's all these programs like I went to the Art Center, the Cook Art Center. I've been there for most of my life, and that's where I learned to not be scared of my own voice. And I know that there's a lot of kids, Hispanic kids, who don't have that, not fear. They're scared of the uncertainty. All these younger kids who, look at the world now. Like, it went to hell. Like, I got to graduate high school. My sister didn't. She had to do virtual learning. And it's like, we have to stick up for the kids because no one else is. No one else is looking out for them, and we're getting compliant with what's going on. We're letting people get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with. And we're letting this idiot Donald Trump get away with all this shit because we think he's too dumb, but it's not true. He needs to be held accountable a lot more than we have been. We can't just excuse his bad decision and just awful things as stupidity, because it's not.
Yes, girl. Thank you. Our future, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Thank you, Noemi. Krystle?
Yeah, I would say that what we need to do is, or the call to action would be to harness a spirit of inquiry, a spirit of inquiry and of global perspective. Oftentimes we are so drawn into our own narrative and our own lived experience that we don't think about the ripple effect. And so similar to what Celeste said, I think the amplification of Black and brown leaders is crucial. I think it helps us, by us having that spirit of inquiry, it helps us to identify the barriers that exist in community that prevent us from living our best lives. We shouldn't be, Black and brown folks shouldn't be in survival mode. We should be in a position where we can thrive and that we have the tools to do so. And I think that having that spirit of inquiry, where we're not just taking the status quo, or not taking answers of, oh, well, this is the way we've always done it and this is the way it's going to continue. So we need to always operate in the world in a spirit of inquiry, thinking about how these our individual actions and our collective actions shape our community, so that we can all have a healthy and good life.
Beautiful. Thank you, Krystle. Folks, can we give a round of applause for Krystle, please? And because I got the mic and I'm going to close it out, I'm going to go ahead and get a call to action as well. 1 month from now, we're going to be making the biggest decision that this country has ever seen. Literally. Like, I cannot tell you how many conversations I have had with people and hearing so many different things. Like, well, Biden isn't really for us. Like, I don't really like him. Well, the alternative is a psychopath. So if you don't like Biden, but you're going to go for a psychopath, there's a problem for that. I've heard people talk about, I'm going to vote third party. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. Ain't no third party candidate going to win. It's just not going to happen. I wish it did. I wish it did. I wish we lived in America where everybody had the equal chance. But that's not the reality. So we either going to keep 4 more years of this ridiculousness, of this divisive rhetoric, or we going to make a change. So y'all better make a change next month.
Something to that?
Go ahead, Lorena.
So next month, when we go out there and vote and make a change, also come out, the other action is come out and make them accountable for their actions, regardless of who they are. We need to come out and march, right? And make sure that we are making them accountable for the promises, and we keep what we have, right? And then not only keep, but add more to what we need to have dignity and respect, right? And protection. So,
bam. Thank you, everybody.